I went to the doctor and they were like, one doctor said to me, so what's going on with the transplant? I'm like, well, nothing. Nothing really. I just hadn't really. And she said to me, you need to go ahead and proceed because we're going to do this through Emory. I'm like, but Emory's already turned me down 3 times. And she said to me, it's going to happen through Emory. I'm going to back you. I'm like, okay. So I went to another doctor, my nephrologist, and she said to me, like 2 weeks later, maybe a week later, she said, so what's going on with the transplant? I'm like, nothing. So you need to move forward because we're going to do this. I'm like, wait a minute. And I got so nervous, but I knew it was all God because I knew he was leading. I was like, okay, now, wait a minute. She said, well, you need to get with your social worker. And she said, well, the social worker's right here. She said, I'm right here. They were all in the room. The social worker, the dietitian, everyone was in the same room.
Which never happens.
Never happens. And I'm like, wait a minute. She said, okay, well, let me write this up for you. She said, we're going to write this up and we're going to have transplant to give you a call so we can schedule an evaluation. I was like, okay.
We were just sitting in the room, literally just waiting. But see, Corona. We were just learning about it. So the nurses came into the room and were testing him. She said, Mr. Taylor, I need to test you
for COVID.
For COVID.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't calling it COVID.
They were saying coronavirus.
Didn't even know it.
They were calling it corona.
Okay, that's fine. Because we didn't want anything to keep this from happening. When she stuck that all the way up his nose, he was like, damn, that hurt.
That hurt.
It went,
Because, I mean, they
never heard of it.
Get
to the brain.
No. So the next week they called and said, okay, Mr. Taylor, we want to schedule your transplant evaluation and let's get you in like in 2 weeks. I went in 2 weeks and got there. The young lady looked at me, same lady that had turned me down 3 times.
It had just been 2 years previous that she had turned you down.
Right. And she said to me, oh, you look different. And every question she answered me, I was answering. Usually, when I would go to transplant evaluation, I wouldn't be able to answer. Because being a dialysis patient, you're foggy and you can't respond. It's like I'm always in a daze. It's like
I know.
drained.
I've seen those people.
And so I was Johnny on the money. Every time she asked a question, I wouldn't let him.
Sharp.
Yeah. And so she's like, oh.
Normally I would respond.
Because I didn't have the energy to. And so she said, well, you know, the next time you see me, it will be in recovery, post-transplant. And I'm like, yeah, lady, I'm in my mind, I'm like, yeah, whatever. She said, and then JD, he started crying. He said, did you just hear what she said? He said, when I see you, it'll be in post-transplant. And I'm like, okay. I was like, why are you crying? And he's just crying.
I want to cry just by hearing this.
And I was like, okay. She said, well, congratulations. You're transplant ready. I was like, okay. So I get home and I'm just a buzz, like energy, just.
Yeah, like, I'm going to have.
But he didn't believe it.
But I didn't believe it.
He didn't believe
because I'd been turned down already 3 times.
I know.
And so I get home. I'm like, and I started crying in the car. I said, well, what if they say, you know, I just, all these emotions.
I'm like, you've already been approved. You haven't been turned down. She just said to us
yeah.
at the hospital.
And so, long story short, and so I prayed a specific prayer. Because that's one thing I learned from my near-death experience. Specific and detailed prayers. Because I used to wonder, how did I get involved with this celebrity, da, 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 da. And God showed me it was because of your prayers. Your specific, detailed prayers. I was like, dang, I should have been more specific then.